Hello. Today I'll be discussing the concept of Orientalism, originally defined by Edward Said in his 1987 book, aptly titled Orientalism. The topic was highly controversial at the time. Essentially, as Professor Such-Ali puts it, Orientalism tries to answer the question of why, when we think of the Middle East, for example, we have a preconceived notion of what kind of people live there, what they believe, how they act, even though we may have never been there or even met anyone from there. Edward Said has said that when he began to consider the concept of Orientalism, he drew on a vast disparity between his experiences of what being an Arab was and the representations of that in art. This disparity is at the heart of Orientalism, which is, essentially, a false consciousness. Orientalism proposes that the way that the West looks at the Middle East distorts the actual reality of those places and those people, like looking through a lens. This creates a framework that we use to understand the unfamiliar, making the peoples of the Middle East seem different and threatening. Orientalism also states that authors, artists, thinkers, and commentators from the West invent or believe in certain stories, myths, and images about people from Asia and the Middle East. These stories, myths, and images create distinctions between the West and the East. This creates a self-contained loop of information, with most Western texts, fictional and non-fictional, reflecting the same idea of the mysterious Orient, rather than a truthful reflection of the reality of Oriental culture. In short, Orientalism produces a discourse. The crucial argument of Orientalism is that the way this knowledge is acquired is not innocent or objective, but the result of a process that reflects the interests of the West, who are using their powerful agency to keep that construct in place and exert power over the Orient. Said evokes the example of the West's demonization of Islam, saying that Islam is a useful foreign demon to turn attention away from inequities in our own society. Orientalism is still prevalent in modern popular culture and can be clearly identified in Marvel's popular TV show, Daredevil. While the show takes time to flesh out the majority of its white protagonists and antagonists in a complex, nuanced way, the Chinese and Japanese characters within the show are only ever bad guys, who receive no character development beyond the fact that they are mystical, evil ninjas. As one critic, Takeo Rivera, puts it, they aren't villains who happen to be Asian. Their Asianness is central to their villainousness. While villainousness isn't a real word, this example does paint a clear picture of Orientalism, an ideology that skews our perception of Oriental culture in a negative way, falsely creating the sense that all Asian and Middle Eastern people are threatening, dangerous, and mysterious, deliberately creating a rift between Western and Eastern culture that favours the West and discredits the East.